Crab people, crab people. They just like crab, talk like people. Crab people.
Do you like SpongeBob? Do you also hate yourself and play all the From Software games? Well, unless you live under a rock like the homie Patrick Star, I'm sure you've heard about another Crab's Treasure, or Crab Souls, as named by the community. This game looks like a SpongeBob episode and plays like a Dark Souls game. What more do you want, dude? The story to this game is pretty simple. You're a little hermit crab named Krill, who gets his home taken from him, his shell, and you will do anything it takes to get it back. Say goodbye to your shell, idiot. Wait, what? This was a short, simple, yet effective story with some pretty fun characters and some pretty awesome boss fights. The first pro that stands out to me above everything else in this game is the art direction. Oh, yeah. Like I said before, this game makes you think of SpongeBob. The world of SpongeBob. You're under the sea, dude. And even they knew that. There's skins you can put onto Krill, and one of those skins is a Mr. Krabs skin. Oh, there's drip. I can be Mr. Krabs, dude. I need that so bad. Holy shit. When you get to some of these towns and you meet some of these characters, you can't help but think of SpongeBob. Sorry, but you can't. Let's have a SpongeBob counter for how many times I say SpongeBob. It's gonna go up, right? It's going up. But similar to SpongeBob, it takes that theme of life above water is the same as life below water. Just people living their lives. Or fish. Or crabs. You know what I mean. And it's to an extent, of course. It's not like a straight up a rip-off of SpongeBob. This world seems to be living off of our world. All the trash that humans throw into the ocean is treasure to the fish and crabs and the life down under, you know? It's one of the main plots to the story. Trash down there is currency. I mean, even the currency that we use in the game are microplastics. Small chunk of plastic in the shape of a crab's claw. Maybe it has some value. Trade it in for 250 microplastics. They find the trash and repurpose it for buildings, like cardboard buildings you see here, or like clothing, like this little, rat poison thing that you find in packages is a dress for this fish. You know what I'm saying? Or this guy using a Pringle as a hat. Pringle as a hat, dude. Or literally the shells that you use in combat in this game is just all different types of trash from up above, like little baby shoes or a Nintendo 64 cartridge. It was a cool way to emphasize the trash as like an important element in this story. I mean, it just revolves around everything. This game kind of feels like they're trying to tell us in a not so subtle kind of way, like, hey, stop throwing trash in the ocean. It's fucked up, dude. But seeing these items from our world in their world kind of immerses you into this game. It's pretty cool to see a vending machine at the bottom of the ocean and use a soda can as a shell. Overall, goated art direction, in my opinion, for this game. Next pro/con or neutral point for this game would be the combat. I guess couldn't hurt to have a way to defend myself. The only thing that bothers me about the combat is how limited it feels. This is a Dark Souls-like game, and there's not a lot of weapons to really choose from. And sometimes there's some things that are just a little too powerful and kind of takes the difficulty away. This is it's like a From Software light kind of game. You can change the difficulty. You can put a gun on your back and just shoot stuff if it gets too difficult. I didn't do that, all right? Gamer, okay? You get this fork that has, a few combos, and it really stems to the shells for the combat diversity. Each shell has its own ability and can make the combat super fun, or it can make it really boring if it's too powerful, or they just suck and you never use them. You can also eventually take your fork and stab it into those shells and then use that fork as a hammer. That was pretty sick. I really enjoyed that. Oh my god, that's so sick. And the size of your shells would affect your speed, or even affect your hammer swings. It would do more damage but swing slower for big ones, and if you dodge with a big shell on your back, not as fun. You get smacked around, but you have more health. You're a tank, essentially. and you had this grapple hook that you could hook shells to you, hook enemies to yourself, pull them in, beat them up, pull them in, capsize them, and stab them in the chest or whatever. You know, some shells would give you the ability to knock things up. Some shells could heal you. And then some shells, you would just take no damage. And this is where it got a little weird, man. It kind of broke some of the boss fights. Some boss fights that were like, yeah, this is kind of difficult. And then I would find a shell and it's like, this isn't difficult at all. Or there's even items that you can hold while you have a shell on that would straight up just nullify a boss's like main power. Spoiler alert. There's a boss that you fight that's just an electric eel, and you can find an item, a rubber band. You put it on your shell, you are immune to electricity. What? Come on, man. It was so weird. It was like trying to be Dark Souls, but then not at all at the same time. Like I think I would have liked it more if they just stayed to the one difficulty and just let it be hard, you know? Let kids find out. I understand this is probably like, you know, they're probably worried about kids playing this game and then not beating it and getting upset or whatever. But that's okay. That's video games. That's how it used to be back in the day. They never held your hand, and now that's all they do. And I didn't really like that about this. If something is hard, then let it be hard. Pause. Hard pause. So yeah, the fun part of this game was finding a new shell. Wasn't really like finding a new weapon of use. I just wish, you know, they had a little more weapons to use, not just different shells. That's really my only gripe. And I wish there were a few more world bosses. I feel like we kind of get spoiled with, you know, Elden Ring and Dark Souls. The amount of bosses in those games are insane. Even like the world bosses that you just fight for no reason because, you know, there wasn't a lot here. There were a few, very few. Like I said, From Software, light. But even with that, each area felt unique, felt awesome. Each shell brought something new to your play style, and I really did appreciate that. I overall enjoyed my stay with this game. It's like the same energy as Ori and the Blind Forest. Like, you can see the vision, and it's a great game, and you loved it, but you wish there was a little more. And then we got Ori and Will of the Wisps, right? And that's right. Way better than Ori and the Blind Forest. And I feel like if we do get a sequel, which it kind of feels like we are going to get a sequel with this game, that they will just improve upon what they have. It seems like, you know, the dev team probably just didn't have the budget to do the things that they want to do, but they're showcasing what can be. You know what I mean? If there's a sequel, I will be playing it because this game was fun. You know, it did indeed scratch that From Software itch, even if it was a light version of that. And I mean, the vibes, the music, SpongeBob it was on Game Pass, so I didn't have to pay full price for this game. I just had it on Game Pass because Game Pass is broken. The pacing was perfect. It was like a 13 to 14 hour game, and that's with me like exploring, looking around, you know, just getting through it. It wasn't like a long, drawn out bullshit game. And I will give this game a Mr. Krabs out of 10.
Money!
No, but really, I give this game like a 7.3 out of 10. It was good, and I want them to make a sequel and just expand on what they have. That's really it. Really hope they do that. So with that, I bid you adieu. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell for more videos like this. I review a bunch of things: shows, movies, animated shows, video games like this, everything. So take care now, and bye-bye then. Ta-ta!